Coming up, how hackers have gained access to some students' MyFurman accounts.
Looking for ways to de-stress this semester? Learn about ways to keep your mental health in check.
Also, the impact of noisy dorms on students.
And how's your bracket looking? March Madness is in full swing, and we've got some insight.
3, 2...
The following program is produced by students in the Department of Communication Studies at Furman University.
I'm Isabella Quitos.
And I'm Jack Marshall. Stay tuned for the nightly news. Furman creates tons of compost each year, but did you know it's done right on campus? Patrick Fretwell reports.
Students may not realize it, but many of the Furman dining hall foods they eat each day are grown right on campus. How is this possible? Furman's composting program allows foods that students do not finish to become fertilizer for the on-campus farm.
All of the food waste that happens here in the DH that comes to the dish return back behind me over here ends up being separated in the back of the kitchen back there. We try to get the silverware off into one spot. Any non-compostable things like the peanut butter packs or any kind of plastics that come into the DH into a separate trash can, and then any of the food waste itself gets scraped into the green buckets that end up being taken to the back dock that Farmer Bruce and his staff comes and picks up pretty much every day.
This program's been going on since the current farm manager, Bruce Adams, has come around, so I'd say that would be around 10 years. And one of his first orders of business when he showed up here was to establish this relationship with the dining hall, because the idea was we wanted an organic vegetable garden. We didn't want to use manure, we didn't want to use fertilizer, we wanted to use something that was natural.
Created on the site of old clay tennis courts, the Shy Center started in 2008 to help Furman become more environmentally friendly. The center's composting success provided them with a gold ranking from STARS, a program that recognizes colleges for sustainability success. There are only 94 institutions in the world with this ranking.
The food that is brought to the dining hall is consumed, and the waste is taken to a location off campus called Grace. And it's there that we turn it with tractors and a lot of big equipment. And over the process of maybe 30 days, we create these mounds of compost.
In 2017, the Furman farm created 32.7 tons of compost and hopes to create even more in 2018. Reporting for the Nightly News, I'm Patrick Fretwell.
The Shy Center is also hoping to start up a bee farm sometime soon.
Seen any suspicious emails lately? You might be a victim of an all-too-common phishing scheme. Lexi Harvey reports.
This January, the Furman newspaper published an article criticizing the IT department for phishing schemes attacking Furman students via email. We set out to hear the story from a student's perspective.
So I click on the link and it all looks very legit. The formatting, the coloring, it looks just like a Furman IT webpage. So without thinking, I enter my username and my password, I close out the window, I move on. Now, the next day, I get an email from the real Furman IT department saying that the previous email had been a phishing scheme.
Although the IT department responded immediately, somehow Thomas missed the message to change his password.
So the day after it all went down, I was summoned to the Furman IT department, and it turned out there were 7 other folks, 6 or 7, who had also been taken in by this phishing scheme. And anyway, the IT department was very good. They set us up with new usernames and passwords. They got everything set to rights very quickly. I think they deleted all of the spam or phishing emails as well.
For anybody that had responded and entered their username and password, we froze their accounts so they couldn't log in any longer, and the people that had compromised their accounts couldn't log in using their username and password. And then we had them change their password and then come down and we scanned their systems for viruses.
The IT department suggests carefully reading every email before giving away any personal information. This is Lexi Harvey reporting with the Nightly News.
The IT department is located in the bottom of the library. Stop by if you detect any unusual emails. Up next, find out how sorority women relieved stress while also raising money for a good cause.
Also, are you smarter than the average Furman student? Test your knowledge at the Paddocks Trivia Night. Here's Emma Holthauser with our activities segment.
Thanks, Jack and Isabella. As part of Women's Empowerment Month, Furman Panhellenic Council has hosted a yoga class, raising money for their philanthropy. Allie Abel reports.
On Friday, March 15th, Furman Panhellenic hosted a yoga class as a part of Women's Empowerment Month. Every year, Panhellenic brings a variety of events to campus with the purpose of empowering women. This year is no different. More than 30 women joined the class last Friday in hopes of finding a haven of peace and relaxation among their peers.
Yoga is it's a good physical outlet for a lot of people. It allows you to center, so it just more or less benefits your mind and body and allows you for relaxation, gives you a space to recenter yourself, and supports that idea of empowering yourself and giving time for yourself because you're important.
I thought it was really fun. I think especially on a Friday, it was a really good thing to do to relax and unwind with some of my friends. I really enjoyed it. I think it's really important for women to do things together that make them feel better about themselves, that make them feel good about their bodies and how healthy they are. So I think it was a really great addition to Women's Empowerment Month. I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of my friends did too.
Throughout the month, Panhellenic will be sponsoring events ranging from personal finance classes, bystander intervention training, and yoga. In addition, they will hold penny wars to raise money for the Circle of Sisterhood.
The Circle of Sisterhood was founded by a group of sorority women, and it was actually based off the novel Half the Sky, which also was turned into a documentary, which we'll be showing later this month. And it really addresses the barriers of female education on a global level.
Furman Panhellenic will be sponsoring events all through the month of March for Women's Empowerment Month. This is Allie Abel with the Nightly News.
On March 26th, Panhellenic Council will be hosting a bystander intervention and healthy relationships training class to round out Women's Empowerment Month. Want to test your trivia knowledge? The paddock is the perfect place for you. Yvonne Boulay reports.
On select Wednesday nights, the Office of Student Involvement and Inclusion hosts its annual DJ Trivia Nights in the paddock. With a brand new menu and a buzzing atmosphere, it's the perfect place to test your knowledge, eat some delicious food, and spend quality time with your friends.
Today we're Scott Rogowski. I guess we're paying tribute to HQ, the trivia app that everybody loves.
The rules are simple. You can compete into teams up to 4 people, write your answer on a card, and hope you can piece together the music clues to come up with your final answer.
One of the things that separates DJ trivia from other trivia games is the fact that we tie in music heavily.
The most important rule of all? To have fun.
It's going really well. I mean, not really. We're actually in class, but it's been a lot of fun. I improved my thing. Got really good friends from home, so.
It's fun. I get to unleash my inner game show host, and I love it. So.
There are prizes each week for the winning team, and one lucky individual wins a special prize at the end of the semester. Who knows? Maybe you could be the next DJ Trivia champion.
If you're sad you missed it, don't worry. There'll be another DJ Trivia Night on March 28th and April 11th from 7:30 to 9. I'm Yvonne Boulay reporting for the Nightly News.
Make sure to stop by the Office of Student Involvement and Inclusion for more events happening this year. And that's all for our activities segment. Back to you, Jack.
Thanks, Emma. Midterms are over, but the stress of daily college life remains. There's been increased cases of anxiety and depression at Furman in recent years. Mary Kate Fry reports.
The intense stress caused by college life can negatively affect student mental health.
I began college with anxiety. I had anxiety disorder and was able to tackle that one pretty quickly just because I had such a great support system here at Furman. But last year I developed an autoimmune disorder called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is not curable, and that actually causes really intense depression. Art is definitely a way that I relieve stress. That is something I've been doing since I was little, and it is just one of those things where I'm so in the zone when I do art that I don't think about anything else, and nothing can get to me. It's like I'm protected when I'm doing art. I also paint a lot of surreal stuff. I don't really paint realistic paintings. I paint a lot of kind of very imaginary, surreal things that are very colorful, and it kind of helps me like bring this like ideal world I have in my head to life in front of me.
Counselor recommended ways to improve mental health are self-care and maintaining a consistent schedule of eating, sleeping, and exercising.
I think our student situation is pretty typical of college campuses. Students are very busy, things are very intense, there's a good deal of stress. In fact, in the time that I've worked here, originally the primary diagnosis was depression sorts of disorders, and somewhere along the years we've moved along, and now the primary diagnosis is anxiety disorders.
Furman isn't alone. A survey conducted by the American Psychology Association determined that cases of anxiety and depression are increasing on college campuses all across America. Reporting for the Nightly News, I'm Mary Kate Fry.
This week is Mental Health Week at Furman. Check out the CLP calendar to learn more about upcoming events.
The Fortitude Project is wrapping up its 4-year study, and you're not going to want to miss these results. Bailey Verreau reports.
The Fortitude Project is a 4-year study that follows the class of 2018 at Furman University. It's a $3.4 million grant given to us by the Duke Endowment. There are also 3 other schools involved in this study, those being Duke, Davidson, and Johnson C. Smith.
We want to understand the factors that either lead to students struggling in college, or the factors that protect them from struggling and seem to enable them to rebound from adversity and stress more easily. So we're really studying resiliency in college students and trying to understand the factors that may predict that, so we can then promote that for future students.
And so they pull data on all sorts of factors about life. So there's academics, social, financial.
But we found really interesting findings on the effects of fraternities and sororities on students, the role of academic stress for students, how pervasive that is. One thing that surprised me was the degree to which noisy dorms bothers students.
I think this is one of the first studies that is a really comprehensive view of the 4 years at a university, and by having schools like Furman, but also schools like Duke and Johnson C. Smith, which is historically black, they're getting a really wide range of data from very different schools, and so I think they're hoping to kind of see similarities between the schools, but then also see differences and kind of seeing how we can make these schools better.
The Furman Psychology Department students are excited to see the results of the Fortitude Project. This is Bailey Verreau reporting for the Nightly News.
Now that's the Furman advantage. Stay tuned to hear the results of the Fortitude Project.
Cool cucumber or creme brulee? Pick your poison. A new flavorless addiction is hot on Furman's campus, and it is called the Juul. Mary Paisley Belk reports.
Juul devices have recently become flagrant at Furman and campuses around the country. What is a Juul, you may ask? Google defines the Juul as a very simple to use e-cigarette pod vape aimed towards new vapors who want something that resembles a cigarette in terms of size and weight. It is a highly concentrated nicotine vaporizer, which underage kids use to get a buzz. It is commonly mistaken for a USB stick, which makes it easy to use in libraries, class, or any public spaces.
So some of the research about e-cigarettes in young adults concerns brain development, and what we see is that nicotine impairs part of the brain that's responsible for decision making and impulse control. And so if young adults are using e-cigarettes, the thought is that that might be changing the way synapses are formed. It can actually affect attention and learning and decision making, and of course impulse control is already a big concern for young adults. We don't need to be losing that even more.
I Juul sometimes between classes outside the library. Mostly when I go out with my friends is when I Juul. It's like a very social thing. So a lot of people will come up to me and ask for my Juul, and like we'll start talking about Juuls. So it's a good conversation starter. Also, sometimes I Juul before bed if I'm not tired, because it like makes me tired.
You'll regret not considering these consequences before taking a hit.
You heard it here first, kids. Juul products can have hazardous effects on your health. This is Mary Paisley Belk reporting for the Nightly News.
Coming up, if James B. Duke is full, it's because students are hard at work on their team brackets.
Also, being a D1 athlete at Furman is hard, but being an injured D1 athlete is even harder. Let's go to Mary Paisley Belk with our sports segment.
It's the best time of the year for college basketball fans. March Madness is underway and Furman University students are watching, hoping their team will win. Austin Willis reports.
When March rolls around at Furman, every TV screen on campus has a college basketball tournament game on. The gym basketball courts are empty as students huddle around their brackets and TVs, consuming every minute of the 64-team tournament we call March Madness.
I never watched college basketball, and this time of year I made a bracket. It was my first time making a bracket, but people go crazy over March Madness at Furman, so I watch the games with my friends.
I watch a ton of basketball throughout the year, just chilling with the boys, cracking a few cold ones. When March rolls around, I hop in the cubicle for many, many hours and decide the best team to win.
Don't watch too many games during the year, but when it comes March, you know, download the apps, fill out the brackets, and try to watch all the big games.
I have Kentucky going all the way.
Go Vols, baby.
I have a few different brackets, but I think what I'd like to see the most is Michigan State with Big Blue taking it all the way.
March at Furman is a different time of year. When the cold weather disappears and the leaves on the trees come out, you won't find Furman students outside. You'll find them in their apartments making their brackets and watching March Madness. With the Nightly News, I'm Austin Willis.
A top-flight college sports program needs a top-flight medicine program. Jesse Daly reports on Furman Sports Medicine.
D1 sports isn't all fun and games. With the responsibility also comes a high risk of injury.
I broke my leg, my tibia, the tip of my tibia, and my fibula, probably like halfway up my calf, and I also tore the syndesmosis ligament down there, so I had to get surgery. I got 10 screws put in and a titanium plate, 8 on the right side of my leg and 2 on the inside of my leg, and it happened in a game. I slid it in a second and slid a little late and instantly knew it was broken. I heard it crack, and I looked down and my foot was kind of sideways.
At Furman, the sports medicine department has many professional trainers that help athletes keep optimal bodies for optimal performance.
One of the unfortunate downsides of playing athletics is you're going to have your injuries here and there. I myself work with basketball and tennis, see a lot of ankle sprains. Tennis is really more chronic injuries, shoulder impingement. But really, you know, all that takes maintenance, and all of it requires recovery, and it takes a lot out of a body to be able to play a full 40-minute basketball game, and that can certainly have the wear and tear in your body. So a lot of what I do is, you know, just injury prevention, injury recovery, rehab.
The Furman Sports Meds Department sets up injured students with golf carts to get around campus, scooters to make getting around a little easier, and physical therapy sessions to help students get back to recovery. Unfortunately, with college sports comes the risk of getting injured. Luckily, here at Furman, the Sports Medicine Center will help those injured athletes on the road to recovery. This is Jessie Daly reporting for the Nightly News.
That's all for sports. Back to you, Jack and Isabella.
Thanks, Mary Paisley. That's it for this week's Nightly News.
Tune in next week to stay updated on the happenings here at Furman.